Hello besties and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Saskia and I have 2 psychology degrees. So I thought for today's video I could go through some advice for psychology students, mostly undergraduate students, that I have picked up from my 4 years of doing degrees. So on today's coffee break, exact same coffee as last time with a bit more oat milk because I thought that would make it less sweet. I was going to add some coffee, but I don't want to go through the effort of having to try and dissolve it, so coffee. So I have 5 kind of key tips, and then what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to go through a timeline of basically when you should be doing things in your 3 years of undergrad. So my first kind of piece of advice is to either take any opportunity given to you or make them for yourself. Now, this starts with your emails. If you are 18, you should be checking your emails anyway. If you're doing a degree, you should be checking your emails anyway. Read them though. I got so much money from checking my emails. I got some of my tutoring jobs from checking my emails. I got my research assistant scheme from checking my emails. I got a technology grant from checking my emails. I got a healthcare grant for checking my emails. These weren't advertised anywhere other than my emails. You could probably find them online if you looked hard enough, but they weren't handed to you, except from in your emails. Check your emails. Anything you get as an email, please read it. I know they're really annoying, and I know that some of them have no relevance to you, but just skim read, because that's how I got every opportunity that I've been able to put onto my CV, essentially. Basically, checking your emails is one of the most important things that you should do at uni. When you get them, check them. Check them in the morning, make it part of your little social media routine. It sounds a bit kind of boring, but one of my favourite things to do in the morning was to check my emails. This is how I got all my opportunities, so I would continue to check them. The amount of people that didn't know anything about even just exam season, or didn't know that you could be a research assistant because they hadn't checked their emails. Read them. Within that of kind of taking and making opportunities, see if you can audit modules. It might seem a bit useless. It might seem okay, well, I'm not going to sit the assessment, so it's useless. It does go on your transcript and it potentially gives you something to talk about. You don't have to attend every lecture. You might just watch a couple of recordings, but if there's 2 optional modules that you're stuck between choosing, emails ahead of the optional module you do not choose. Just ask if you can audit the module. Just say you're really interested in having a look at some of the content. Use your resources. No, I've not particularly mentioned the module I audited in first year, but it is on my transcript, and I can, if anyone's ever going to ask me about okay, name a time you've gone above and beyond. Oh, well, I was really interested in learning about this, but I knew I couldn't take all of these modules. I just wanted to gain as much information as possible, so I audited this module. It's, I would say, a kind of low effort, easy thing. You don't have to attend every lecture. You might audit the module and realize, oh my god, I hate this module. But you've still got it on your transcript, and it's still an opportunity. Another thing to do, I think, I'll go through this in the timeline eventually, but is contact your lecturers kind of end of first year, end of second year, asking if they have any opportunities for research assistant schemes. Your university might have a research assistant scheme. If it does, use it. It's the only way you will get research experience. My dissertation ended up being using secondary data. I didn't do lab work. I never stepped foot in it. Even doing my VRA, I didn't step foot in a lab. But it's the only opportunity you're going to get. You go on all these open days and they tell you about all these labs. You're probably not going to use them. Make those opportunities. I did research assistant schemes in things I wasn't particularly interested in, but it is the only practical application I have of certain research skills. It's the only practical application I have of interviews, or the only practical application I have of content analysis. I wouldn't have these without that. It's something I can talk about in interviews when they go, okay, well, what research skills do you have? Well, foundationally and theoretically, I can do X, Y, Z that I learn in research methods, but if I've not done it, can I really do it? So if your university has a research assistant scheme, sign up for it in first year and second year, because that is when you have the least pressure on you. You might hate some of the things you do, okay? That's fine. It's not a high commitment thing. For me, the research assistant scheme was a couple of hours a week. Over summer, if you're going to stay in the city that you're in, or if you can commute, you might do more hours, but higher payout. Not that you're getting paid, but in the sense that you will gain more research skills. You will gain a relationship with a lecturer, which is a good thing. You also might work hard enough to contribute to a paper and have a published paper, because Jesus Christ, people love published papers. Again, opportunities to say you've contributed to peer-reviewed papers, published work, things that you learn about but you don't get the skills to do. The key thing is to build up your CV before your degree becomes too much. In first year, if you're given volunteering opportunities, take them. You know, do a short stint volunteering somewhere, work for your Mind charity, you know, work for different societies that you've got. Build up any skills that you can that will be relevant to your degree before your degree is overwhelming and you don't have time to do this. My next thing is kind of along the similar lines of basically apply for everything and also do it early. In first year, everyone's kind of adjusting to their degree, everyone is kind of getting to grips with it. Any opportunity that comes up, apply for it, because hopefully other people are going to be too stressed and you get it. So I applied for all of these kind of grants and funding schemes, which other people might have been aware of, might not have been aware of, but I was one of the first people to do it. I went in and I did that immediately. I think this more so links to, grad schemes, post-grad experiences, in the sense that if you want to, if you don't really know what you want to do, you're going to need to figure that out in the summer of second year, kind of latest. Scary, it happens. Summer between second and third year, you will want to figure out what grad schemes might you want to apply to. Do grad schemes exist? Because no one told me they existed and I didn't know anything about them. You know, in that summer, research grad schemes, apply for all of them, because they will close in like December. Even if you don't really know what you want to do at that point, if you figure out what you want to do in April of third year, it's too late, all the grad schemes have closed for that year. I didn't know these things. You know, the NHS has grad schemes, Tesco has grad schemes, branding, marketing, psychology grad schemes will all exist. Teaching, policing, social work. Apply for anything that you could consider doing. Do it in second year, do it in the summer of second year when you're not that busy, you're not doing a dissertation yet. Have it all ready to go. Have personal statements and CVs ready to go. Fill in these applications. Ask for support filling in these applications. Go to your careers service. Because when it gets to third year and it gets to, you're just doing your degree. You're just doing your dissertation. You don't really have time to do other things. You're probably not thinking about, do I want to do a master's? Do I want to do other things? You're going to want to get that sorted summer of second and third year. You want to do all these grad schemes. Apply for some of them for the purpose of getting a sense of how applications work. For getting feedback on your application, feedback on your CV, having interview practice. It's almost better to have a set of applications or something that you're not that passionate about to get the experience of it. Your first interviews are terrifying. I don't like interviews, but my first kind of proper interview was for a job I really, really wanted, and I'd never done an interview before. I didn't know what to do. Doing an interview for a job you're maybe not that interested in getting, but is a good experience, and you might become more passionate about it as you go through, is a good idea. So my next piece of advice is advice you probably don't want to hear. Work on the stats. No one likes research methods. I kind of like research methods. Generally, it's the least liked module, but research methods as a whole will make up a quarter of your degree. That is objectively more than any other one discipline. Social psych won't make up that much. Clinical won't make up that much. All of them will be kind of tiny components. Research methods, we had to do a compulsory module on it every semester. It is the constant throughout your degree that you will be doing. It is worth a good amount of your grade. You will end up needing this in most jobs that you go into. Research assistants, if you go into further study, if you go into an assistant psychologist role, you will also be doing stats. It's not just clinical focus. You need to have a grasp of these. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be, getting a first in everything, but you will want to understand them. You will want to understand how it works. Do some work over the summer, do some work, attend any kind of research methods, drop-in sessions, figure them out, because they are important and people neglect them because they don't like them. It's one of those things that people go, I don't like stats, it's not that big a deal, I'm not going to do it. No, it is a big deal. You will use it in a master's, a PhD, you will use it in assistant psychology roles, you will use it in research assistant schemes, you will use it in your dissertation. It's something, you don't have to be great at it, you don't have to love it, You have to be competent at it. Once you leave your degree, you might not ever need them again, but you need them throughout your degree, so you need to be acceptable at them. Also, for the few people that do like stats, I highly recommend learning an alternative method. So if you learn R in your uni, go and try and pick up SPSS, go and try and pick up MATLAB. That is a really useful thing. I did SPSS in undergrad and I did MATLAB in postgrad. No one cares about SPSS. No interview I've attended, no one's ever been impressed by the fact I can use SPSS. You know, people have been impressed by the fact that not only can I use MATLAB, but I got to grips with it very quickly and I did relatively well in it. You know, it's my second highest module in my masters. I'd never used MATLAB before. In an interview, they're like, oh, well, if you get this interview, you'll be working with R. Have you ever used this before? And I was like, well, no, but I learned how to use MATLAB and I learned how to use this relatively quickly. Oh, and I also got an 81 in it and I did really well in it. You know, I'm showing that I can develop that skill. Transferable skills, ladies. This advice is definitely easier said than done, but figure out what you like. It might be that you like clinical psychology, developmental. It might be that actually your psychology degree is a stepping stone for you to go and do graduate entry medicine, for you to go and do law. As early as possible, you want to figure out the areas that interest you so that you can get an idea of what you want to do in the world. It doesn't have to be that you go, oh my god, I love this. It can just be that you go, okay, we've done 2 modules on cognitive and I've not really liked it. That's good enough for me that I've decided I'm not thinking I don't want to go into cognitive. I don't want to do a dissertation on cognitive. You know, for me it wasn't necessarily that I was like, okay, I love this area of psychology. I don't think I found an area of psychology that I loved until my masters. It was more so that I was like, okay, I've not really enjoyed when we've learned about this. It might be that you go, okay, well in first year we did a module on cognitive and I hated it, but there was this 1 week that was really interesting and that I might want to look into more. It might be that you go, okay, every developmental module we've done is amazing and I love it. You want to do more about that. You know, you can then use that to understand. You can either use it to directly go, okay, love clinical, I want to be a clinical psychologist. Or you can use it to go, I hate cognitive, I hate social, research methods though has been generally quite interesting to me. I want to know about this. You can use that to then go and find opportunities. You can use that to reach out to lecturers and go, hey, really love your modules, really interested in this. Do you have any kind of career advice? Like, I'm really interested in going into the developmental field, but I can't find much about it. Can we have a meeting because you are a developmental psychologist? Or, you know, because you've worked with this group of people. Use your lecturers. This is one of the things that I would say I regret is, yeah, I was quite annoying in uni. I could have been more annoying. You know, lecturers are paid to lecture, to do things. I could have used them more. You know, reach out to lecturers who work on the modules that you're interested in, who have a job that you're interested in, and find out how they got into that or how you can get into that. Pester them and set up a meeting and go, hey babe, I'd really like help with this. This can also help you to get things like research assistant schemes if you immediately early on figure out what you like. You know, if you in first year do a social psych module, absolutely love it, you can then reach out to that social psych professor and go, hey bestie, I'm really interested in this, that I could get involved in. If you then do that research assistant scheme, go, God, I actually hate research methods, or oh, social psych is actually not that interesting to me, or this area of social psych is exactly what I want and this one is the one that I hate. You're using these things that you like to make as many opportunities as possible. Yes, some lecturers might not get back to you. Yes, some lecturers might be completely unhelpful. Pester as many as you can find. Get involved, annoy them, speak to your tutor if your tutor is helpful and go, I'm really interested in this, or oh, I'm actually panicking about career options. If, you know, in second year, in first year, you might already have a really passionate idea of what you want to do. Speak to your tutor and get as much support for that as you can. You know, if you're going to need to do entry tests, if you're going to need to get specific references or applications sorted, get all of that kind of done as you go. So if you find an area that you like, it makes it a bit easier to kind of do the dissertation sitch, and to like do a dissertation that you actually like, which is my 5th piece of advice. Pick a good dissertation. Again, easier said than done, because in both my experiences of picking a dissertation, you got given one. You didn't pick it. You know, if you're given a list, or if you already know what area you're interested in, become besties with that supervisor, become besties with that lecturer. So when it comes to picking a dissertation, you can go, oh, well, I've already discussed it with X, Y, and Z, and we're going to do this dissertation. If you're given a list, if you're given like a list of supervisors, potential supervisors, contact them and go, oh, I'm really interested, like, show initiative, show that you're interested early to get the most out of it. Because some lecturers will have favourites. They will go, oh, I taught this module and this person was the top of my class and I really liked them. If they then put in their thing, you know, in their dissertation application form, oh, I really like this lecturer and like, I really love this module and this is like the only area I'm interested in, that's probably going to help them get picked. So either become besties with a lecturer. If there's like a section where you can write something in it, write something like, oh, this is the only area I'm interested in and my future dream career is this and this really perfectly aligns with that, and like I'd really like to work with either this supervisor or really on this project. You're going to be proposing a project yourself. Having a lecturer that supports that and having a good relationship with them early is great, because I think with your dissertation, it will be the only piece of research you've properly done. Yeah, like yes, I've dipped in and out of research projects, but my dissertation is the only long piece of research I've done, ish, with all secondary data, so it's kind of irrelevant. But it's what you will talk about in interviews, you know. It's the big, it's the big project you've managed. It's the way of demonstrating what you know about psychology. It is what you've got. Some of you will be given bad dissertations, and you're just gonna have to make the most out of it. I've been given a bad dissertation twice, 3 times. Sometimes I just don't talk about them. My research project for undergraduate, I didn't like it, I didn't want to do it. I did it, we kind of moved on. My literature review for undergraduate, I was given one that was absolutely awful, had nothing to do with anything I was interested in, and I kicked up a fuss and I got a different project. My research project in masters, I was given one that I didn't want to do, I didn't have any interest in, so I kicked up a fuss and I got given a different one. I know that you might be scared that like lecturers hate you. I think everyone from my undergraduate hated me. I don't care. It's not my... If you're going to give me a rubbish dissertation that I don't want and actually isn't relevant to what I asked for and put on my form, I'm within my right to go, I don't like this. Like, I'm happy to be a nuisance, and I think it's better to be a nuisance and get a dissertation that's actually relevant to you and that you actually don't hate because it's a big part of your degree, than to just go, oh, I've been given one on dementia and I really don't, you know, I'm not interested in doing interviews, or I'm really not interested in clinical psychology and I only care about developmental. Like, it's okay to kick up a fuss and then go, you know, it's okay to write in that form at the end of your dissertation, like, I don't know, if you get an allocation thing, to go, I really, really want to do this. Or like, once you're given a project, to email and go, I'm really not happy with this, what can be done? Because be a nuisance, be annoying and get a good dissertation, because it is going to be, you know, probably the only part of your degree that you bother putting on your CV. My CV just has my literature review and my dissertation titles because it's the only relevant thing. You know, none of the modules, those are the only things I talk about in interviews, in applications, because those are the culmination of my degree. Especially because in third year, you will spend so much time doing your dissertation. We had it as 2 modules, literature review, a dissertation or research project. It was a full year thing, and if you hate it for a year. Try and find something that you like, be happy to kick up a fuss. If you're interested in a specific area and you want to make your own proposal, reach out early and go, okay, well, when it comes to dissertations in a couple of months or in 6 months, I'd really like to work with this lecturer, so I'm going to contact them now. Or I'm really interested in proposing, I don't know how to propose a project. Go and research how to do that. Email lecturers. Essentially, one of my key things is going to be email lecturers and be annoying. It's fine if you read your own email and go, God, I am annoying. Because you're just asking people to do their job. A lot of the times, you're just asking for clarification, support, someone to do their job. This is your degree, this is your career, this is your life. Don't let it kind of just happen. You know, don't let yourself just get put into modules you don't like, dissertations you're not interested in, if you have a passion for an area, or just a passion against an area. Again, I didn't particularly know what area of psychology I was interested in. I knew I didn't want to do a dissertation on placebo effects. That's not relevant to me. Sure, some parts of health psychology are interesting to me, Did I ask to be on a health psychology dissertation though? No, but I asked to be on developmental. Oh, but he's a top lecturer in developmental. That doesn't make the project developmental. So, kicked up a fuss, got a dissertation that was, yeah, not great, but it gave me some new skills. I did it. So, that is all my advice. I'm now going to do a quick kind of academic timeline of year 1, year 2, year 3, when to be doing things in undergrad. Year 1, generally as a whole, mostly at the beginning though, read all your emails. Read them properly, check what's going on. Apply for anything you get through your emails, if it's money, if it's volunteering, if it's research assistant schemes. Even if you only end up doing it for a month, or you apply for the volunteering and then go, not sure I want to do this. Apply for things, start CV building. If your university has a research assistant scheme, you want to apply in first year. You want to get it out of the way. I think I did 4 or 5 different placements. I did a placement every single term. I did a research assistant scheme every single term, so I had as many different opportunities, as many different things to mention on my CV. If you're enjoying a module, maybe it's in semester 1, semester 2 first year, email lecturers before summer and go, hello, do you have any work that needs to be done over summer? Is there any support you need with anything? I'd really be interested in getting in a lab. I'd really be interested in learning more about this. Try and get involved in something like that. Then in the summer of first year, between first and second year, either do some kind of research assistant work in the uni or with a lecturer. Try and do some CV building. So volunteering somewhere is a very kind of easy thing. It's a very common thing that people will do. Volunteering for Shout, volunteering for Mind, for Childline, for kind of any of those things. Easy-ish thing to put on your CV. If you're interested in going into kind of clinical focused work, that's probably the easiest. It's probably a good way to get experience without having to, I guess, have a job of working in healthcare settings, clinical settings, those kinds of things. You know, it can be a couple of hours a week. It doesn't have to be like a commitment of every single day. It can be that you do 2 hours every Thursday, but, you know, by the end of summer you might have hit 100 hours. You know, you've done a good amount of work to put on a CV. Second year, again, continue on your research assistant scheme. Again, is there any research assistant work that you can do? If you have now started to build an interest in an area, semester 1, semester 2, start reaching out to lecturers, probably end of semester 2, summary time, and say, I'm really interested in this topic. I was just wondering, will you be a dissertation supervisor? I'd really like to potentially work on an area like this, or I'd like to propose a project. How does this all work? Could we discuss this? In the summer of second year, summer between second and third year, research dissertation ideas if you want to propose your own project. You're going to want to figure out how that works. Of do you need to have already met with a lecturer and kind of decided that, or can you just propose a project, it gets put through the system and any lecturer takes it? You will also now want to be doing research for post-uni. You want to be looking at post-grad opportunities. Do you want to go and do a master's? Do you want to go do an MRes? Do you want to go do a PWP scheme, a PGCE? What do you want to do? What are the options? Discuss this with careers advisors, apply for things, build your CV. You should have a CV from first year. The things that you are doing should now be adding to your CV. Start writing a personal statement, a generic statement that you can use, because you will have to write 100 different personal statements. Have a generic personal statement that you can kind of copy and paste of, oh, this one talks about my research experience, this one talks about volunteering. Have something along those lines that you can now use for everything. Look at grad schemes, start applying to grad schemes, or start making a note of when you need to be applying for things. Also, if you can kind of get a head start on applications of like, you already know what some of the questions will be, or you can research how the interview process works. Do all of that kind of before third year starts or as third year is starting, so that you don't have to spend the beginning of third year stressed and overwhelmed. In the actual third year, your biggest priority will just be your dissertation. For some people, it doesn't feel like that much of a burden of work, but for some people, some unis, you have to have a bigger word count, or it's worth more. For me, my dissertation was worth a module. You know, it wasn't worth much. For some people, that's worth a third of their degree. Focus on your dis. If you have postgrad applications that need to happen, schedule them in, write it down on a calendar, get that done as you're going and schedule your dissertation so that you don't end up behind on your dissertation because you had to apply for a postgrad scheme. So 3rd year, dissertation, applying for postgrad schemes or opportunities. Once you've finished your dissertation and submitted that in May, now you can start applying on Indeed or LinkedIn for just straight jobs rather than postgrad schemes. Sometimes with jobs, it is a bit of an issue of that you will apply, there are jobs that I applied for in October last year that I'm just getting interviews for now. So if you're bored, every couple of weeks, in semester 2 of 3rd year, have a look at some jobs, have a look at when the closing date is, apply for them anyway, because you might just apply for them, get the job, and then go, is it going to be okay though if I start in a month? Or just say, my notice period is actually 2 months and I'm not going to start until August. That is my timeline, that is my advice. Lots of advice, lots of things happening. Again, important kind of finishing points: read your emails, be annoying and email your lecturers. Basically, emails are very important. Yeah, that is everything. Hopefully it was somewhat helpful. I feel like this is the kind of thing that people might not have wanted to hear in 1st year of their degree, probably needed to hear. Especially things like the emails. I've spoken to so many people during my degree who were like, I didn't know we could do this, or oh, how did you get this money? When did this happen? I just read my emails. I didn't really go above and beyond on a lot of things, of just the opportunities I have, opportunities that were given to everyone. I just took them. And I think that's an important thing in your degree, is that a lot of opportunities do exist. They are just sometimes hidden. Like, have a look on your university website, just have a peruse at what's going on. Email lecturers when you can, kind of be annoying and take the opportunities. So that is everything. That's the end of the video. I said that about a minute ago, but it is now the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, do subscribe. I will see you in my next video, which might actually be next week, because this is going to be my 3rd week in a row uploading. Everyone claps for me, claps for me. Yay!